You've been serving everyone, yet being served the least. Not anymore. Welcome, everybody. We are back. Next episode, I am here for it. We're moving right along. Today, we're talking about how I'm intimidating, and I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm preparing for my workshop event here in Botswana. I'm doing all the things. I'm showing up for myself. But when you are doing anything, right, when you are structuring your business, starting a business, or just changing your life, it's all about exposure. Exposure is always the goal. It was the goal when I moved to LA back in 2014. And it's the goal now that I'm on this international adventure with my business. So I need to talk to everyone. Okay. I need to be in the face of everyone to see who they are, what they have going on, and how they can help me. Now, I'm aware that I'm not on American soil, so I'm definitely going to be perceived differently. I understand that I'm in Botswana. I understand that the cultural practices are different day to day, but I also know we Black folks, and there are just things about Black folks that just are the same throughout all of us, and I love that about us. And so what I want to talk about today is a meeting I had with a woman from a church that I went to in Botswana. I don't want to say the church. I don't want to say this woman's name because I didn't really care for the church and I didn't care for this woman. So it's not about putting people out there, rather I'm just sharing my experience. My experience is healing for me, and I hope that it's going to heal you today also. Again, in the name of getting exposure, I went to church and I immediately wanted to have a conversation with one of the head clergy women there, right? I'm doing women empowerment, I'm focusing on gender-based violence. Surely this woman can help me and give me some insight as to what's going on in the country and in the city and how that's showing up with the people at the church. And so I got her information from another woman I had met. So kind of like the assistant of one of the people at the church. And so she was really nice. I met up with the assistant at the hotel that I usually have meetings out of. And it was great. I didn't think that she would pass my information along, but she did. And so I was happy when she had set up the meeting and we were scheduled to go to just talk about like how I can show up and just help the best way that I can. And so the thing about when I met with the assistant, she also does this thing, they call it homeschool. In America, I like to call it Bible study, but they call it homeschool, and it's kind of like a pod for like certain people in the church. So it's like even more specialized. This is your community of people. If you need help with anything, then these are your folks. And so I went to a couple of these meetings and I realized that the main mission of this church is to get people saved or get them brought in through the kingdom. Like basically the only way that people can get to God is through the church. And so and that the main purpose in life is to serve God. And so for me, I thought that logic was pretty controversial because as I was in the meeting and listening to the woman assistant head the meeting, people were confused about how to get to God through the church, right? This lended itself to talking about purpose. And that's what her discussion was about, how to find your purpose. To me, I felt the message was very bland. Because I knew the way, like I know how to go about finding a purpose that's a little bit more utilitarian than, oh, you just need to go to church and everything's going to be okay, right? If that was the case, then God would have never created vocation and would have never given us jobs to work within our purpose. And so those are just some of the gaps that I immediately saw in going to the home school and what I could lend in my services with what I do. But again, really just kind of want to get to know people here, get on their radar and just see what's on their roadmap and how can I help. So I met with an assistant pastor. And so I could tell that this meeting was not going to go well. I read this book, and if you are listening, you need to go get the book called Pitch Anything. It basically says that in the room, there's going to be an alpha and there's going to be a beta, and one of you guys are going to have to compete. So one of you guys is going to win the alpha role, one's going to be the beta. And so immediately we had this meeting scheduled for 10 o'clock a.m. and I walked there. It's so hot in Botswana, let me tell you. I get there. As soon as I get there, I look at my phone and I see that the meeting has been rescheduled and for 10:30. So if I'm there at around 9:58 a.m. and the meeting is scheduled at 10:30, Botswana does not have Uber, so now I have to find a taxi. I'm also drenched in sweat. So automatically I knew from the standpoint of reading the book Pitch Anything, this woman is trying to make sure that she stays in control. And the audacity to have me change locations when she's supposed to be at the location at 10 a.m. really, really rubbed me the wrong way for our first encounter. But in my mind, I'm already ready to go. I'm at the house. I know how to call a cab. Gaborone is not a big city. I can get there within 30 minutes. And so, although I thought it was rude of her to do that, I went ahead and made it my business to get to the church. So I ended up getting there and I met with her. So it's all good. We're in there. She's, a pretty little thing, got her hair did, makeup done, clothes, just she looks good. She looks the part. And mainly when I sat down with her, right, I made small talk. And that's one of my mistakes, because in reading the book Pitch Anything, it says don't make small talk, right? You want to get to the point, let them know that you are serious, because again, you're trying to claim the alpha role. But in just making small talk, I started talking about some of the inconsistencies in the country, in the city, particularly the internet, and just talking about how people have to constantly buy airtime, buy data, and how, for me, it presents a PTSD of me always having to worry about it, and it kind of consuming my life. And she responded as if what I was saying, what? We don't have a problem with the internet here. People can just buy it. And I told her, I said, I'm sure everyone with money can, but poor people can't. So it's very different for different classes of folks in the city. So, but her just being disagreeable in that way already kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because it's no secret that being on the continent, that airtime and data is such a big problem here. So these are the facts. And already she's trying to come at me with this small talk. So, but it's okay. It's okay. As I begin to start telling her my story and why I'm in Botswana and how I changed my life and the purpose that God put on my life and how I've been living that out for the last few years, she saw me as a woman who was making assumptions about the country. When I started to talk about another portion of our small talk involved me and me just noticing that the Zimbabwe culture in Botswana, the men there get married and you don't really see their wives. So they're not hanging out socially with them. So again, when I had that conversation with her, she was just really disagreeable. What are you talking about? Where are you getting your information? And the thing that really bothered me about her is that, call it intimidating or not, but just this need to have to be disagreeable, this need to have to just have this strong, aggressive, and just in conversation. It bothered me, because what I would hope that we would do when we're meeting new people, or that when we say, yes, we'll meet with you, is that we're at least curious enough about who this person is so that we will shut up and not keep on interrupting them. Because I'm barely into talking about my business, right? This church is very popular. I'm just trying to see how can I come in here and give my time, talent, and treasure. And this woman is just shutting me down every which way. And again, when I was talking about my perspective, such as the internet, such as the culture of the Zimbabwe men, such as the culture of people saying things like they're poor and they're broke, and these being words that I've heard all across the city, she just was rude and cutting me off and confrontational about all these things as if these things aren't prevalent around this city. And that lended her to sort of second guessing my experience and my authority. And I know that I might be new in this country, but I'm not new to this research, and I'm not new to Black folks and women disparities around the world. And so it's just really important that you know who you are, because people sometimes will try to tell you who you are or put you in a box of who they think you are because of what they aren't. And that's that intimidation stuff that I felt from her that I really wanted her to release, because her lack of being curious about me made it a waste of both of our times. Like, what am I here for if you're not curious about what it is I have to offer? You know, certain things I would be curious about is like, this girl came all the way over from America. Oh, she's in the helping business. Oh, she had this, God had this plan over her life, and she's living it out. She's showing up for herself. I'd be real curious about that woman than trying to second guess my authority and pretty much contradict everything that I was saying. That's just what I would do. So, but you know, she's clergy, so I had to remain respectful, because she just kept on saying things like, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Well, then shut up. But she couldn't do that. But I can show up better than her. So I remain respectful. And what I learned and reading the book, Pitch Anything, is that, you know, I should have ended the meeting very early when she said, you know, with all due respect. Right. And that was in the very beginning when we were talking about the internet disparities. Because what I learned is that you don't let people come in and like disregard you, disvalue you, all those things. Like, you shut it down. And so at that point, rather than going back to her and still trying to like tell my story, I should have just like did a very summed up version and said, thank you for your time. I'll let you go. She wasn't interested in anything I had to offer. To me, this was a woman who, whatever I would have said, if it didn't align with her personal goals and the goals of the church, then she basically did not hear you. And it's not okay, especially when we're talking about church folks. And so you got to know that when I ended the meeting early, my blood pressure was very high. We both knew, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you no more. And I told her at the end of the meeting, I said, it's okay that I'm not from this country. It's okay that, you know, I have to take my time to get to know the landscape. But that doesn't mean that there's not something on my heart, that there's not something that I can give and that I can do within what I'm capable of. You know, because she kept saying things like, well, I think you need to just like come to the church and like get involved with our programs and things like that. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not about to come to your church 3-4 times a week. Like, the goal is exposure. I'm trying to get up out here and see where I can serve. And this is not where I'm best feeling utilized. And so that is not what I wanted to do. So I left. And my blood pressure was very high. I was pacing around the church. I was waiting for my cab to come to the next location because I had another meeting. I felt like she wasted my time. And I communicated with the assistant who had gave me the meeting. I said, thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciated you. But I feel like she wasted my time. I just don't know why she had the meeting. She wasn't interested in who I was, what I had to offer. She cut me off. She was incredibly rude. And she made it a point to devalue me as a person. I don't take any of it personal. It has nothing to do with me, but we just need to be careful, because this was a whole church woman, clergy. And we know that people are doing the best that they can, and sometimes their best is trash, but I do expect clergy to show up better, represent the kingdom a little bit better than what she did. So, but this is what I learned, because this is what's more important. What I learned is that, you know, when people see that they have competition, they're more reactive than they are trying to be collaborative. You know, whatever is for us will never miss us. Whatever God has for us will never pass us. And so we don't have to worry about being in competition with anyone else but with ourselves. More so, we should look at how God placed place people in our life to continue on the mission and the purpose. And so when she saw that, I want to use the word competition, intimidation. I don't know what the right word is, but I just know she was not nice and I did not like her presence. So we got to be careful about people who see our strength and want to come in and try to tear it down. You could just very also easily tell that she didn't have respect for me and she wasn't open to learning. Again, everything, she was waiting for me to finish so that she can come back with a rebuttal. That right there is an indication that this person is not listening to you. And what we need to do and get better at, and I'm speaking to myself also, is don't give these people another opportunity to disrespect us. We need to walk away from people who are committed to disrespecting us, to misunderstanding us, for all the things that does not hold us in the highest regard. And so because of that, the church missed out on having someone who loves God, but wanted to provide practical steps to get to the kingdom. So again, we're talking about finding your purpose. That's step 5 in the blueprint to personal freedom. You have a purpose. So we talk about that. I also ask you one question that nobody probably has asked you before. And that's how we help you tap in to the desires of your heart, what you're willing to do for the rest of your life and get on the journey of what God has for you. So I had a way, and I just wanted to introduce that way and collaborate to see how we can get folks the clarity that they need to feel good waking up every day. And so when I was going through all of that, right, because I'm finishing up, I'm closing this thing out. When I thought about it, right, step 2, blueprint of personal freedom is uncomfortably comfortable. So I'm always thinking about my thoughts, my belief systems, my thought patterns, and my emotional reactions. And so I like to weigh it out. What was happening during that time? What was the belief system? What did I believe about myself? I believe that I knew that I had a goal. I know that God has put a business on my heart, and I believe that I wanted to go ahead and introduce it to the people of this church. My thought pattern is that I'm going to get an appointment. I'm going to make sure that when I meet with her, that I tell her a little bit about myself, and then also ask what's on their roadmap and how can I help? So that was my thought. The emotional reaction is that I'm going to be happy about this. I'm going to be happy that I'm serving the kingdom. I'm going to be happy that I'm helping folks get out of despair, get out of hopelessness. And so that's what was happening. But when she was speaking to me, she was putting me in a certain state of mind where my belief was that I'm not good enough, that I'm not qualified enough to do what I'm doing, that I need to go out here and do more work, that I need to go to church 4 days a week to get the landscape of Gaborone, Botswana, that I'm wrong about what I think about that. So my thought patterns is that I need to stop what I'm doing. Don't keep on reaching out to people, maybe lessen my efforts in getting the exposure that I need here in this city. And my emotional reaction is that I feel sad. I feel hopeless. I feel like a loser. And none of those things uplift me or the kingdom. And so I had to really check myself. And thank God the practices that I've created and put inside of the business that I've created, it keeps me affirmed, even though she was trying to belittle and devalue who I am. My practices always show up for me because I show up for myself. 99% of what people do have nothing to do with us. It's usually a projection. And so I also had to remember that in looking at the things that also trigger me. Her emotional reaction proved just how intimidated she was of me coming into her space. And just what we need to know is that God is a God of abundance. God is a God of togetherness. And I'm saddened that this woman who represents God on this formal level did not open up the space to love on one of God's children. So we're always thinking about, well, damn, if she treat me like this, somebody else gonna treat me like this. And that's where that worthiness really comes in. So those affirmation practices and understanding your belief systems and your thought patterns and, moving through that discomfort, trust me, there's so much more in front of you than there ever will be behind you. So now, what's my solution, right? So I'm intimidated and I'm okay with that. The people who are intimidating, like, we have to have strategies for ourselves because it's never going to get easy. We're just going to get better. And so one of the things that I do to always help me out is I always pray. I start with what I'm doing. I pray to release any of the negative feelings that I'm feeling right now, right? What can you control? What can I control? So I assess that and I prayed away the things I could not control and got in control of the things I could control. Right? That's the way we're going to get to some peace. And I needed to be in peace after that encounter. It was important for my mental health. Also, when I got home and I gave myself that time to just kind of breathe and reflect, what I know about God and how he shows up in our life is that I had another woman on the same call. She reached out to me on WhatsApp and we were working on a business proposal to present to a really, really big phone company in Botswana. And she was just like, I spoke to the people over there and they want the proposal. Go ahead and write something up. Let's do this, LaToya. And right then and there, I just was like, you know what? Our discomfort doesn't last forever. Things get better. Nothing lasts forever, good or bad. And so what God does is that in that moment, he didn't give me too long to sit in that despair, to sit in that helplessness. More so, he gave me a light that ignited me and kept me going, right? Principle number 4, keep going. That's what this life is all about. And so, what I know without a shadow of a doubt is that God wants us to be outcome focused. He wants us to remember all the things all the desires of our heart. And that's why working on purpose and working on intention, working on the front end of life instead of the back end of life is going to ensure that you get those things, those desires of your heart, those things you've always been wanting. I know what I want. I want this business to do well. I want women to be transformed. I want people to have a better quality of life. I want women to be held in the highest regard. I will not stop. And that is what I think about when I go in there and I'm doing things scared. And when I can see that I'm also intimidating people because I'm courageously still showing up. Like I said, moving through your discomfort will never be easy, but you will get better. And so it's okay that I'm intimidated. Because what I know is that I'll never be intimidating to someone who want to open up their arms to me, who want to be curious about who I am and what I have to offer. And even though this was more of a discussion about exposure with relation to my business, in life, you guys got to know that this is required also to get to the desires of your heart. We should not just be intimidating people out here that are close to us and call themselves our friend and our family. We should feel good wherever we are. We are valuable. We are worthy. As long as we wake up, God has a purpose on our life. And as long as you remain outcome focused, then how you set up your daily practices will re-emphasize and revalidate and reaffirm everything that you know you are in this world. So go out there and be intimidating. Do you. I appreciate you guys. Look, we're always here. You can always get in touch with me. You guys know I offer personal coaching. I think I'm calling it Gain Confidence and Transform Your Life, but that's the workshop that I'm doing. But now it's Resilience and Rediscovery. And it's designed for, this is really catered to micro business owners and entrepreneurs, women who want to overcome fear, anxiety, and doubt by making healthier decisions, by creating long-term goals, getting clarity they need on their life so that they can structure their business and live life on their own terms. Basically, do what you want to do. And so I help you do that by helping you understand how your belief systems, your thought patterns, and emotional reactions control your mindset, career opportunities, and overall relationships. And I do this all while holding you in the highest regard. That is really important to me. If you're interested in being coached by me in 8 weeks, and we're going in and we're going hard, and it's a group of women that you'll be tapped into all over the world. We are empowering each other. Hit me up at info@patentleatherproject.com. info@patentleatherproject.com. Also know that I consult. I help small and medium-sized corporations develop their corporate identity and branding using mental health strategies and business strategic planning. And I empower teams and staff to build confidence and work towards the vision and mission of their company while also looking at personal pursuits. If you're interested in your company having some consulting, doing a workshop right now, come on, the workshop is so huge. It's so awesome. Go ahead and hit me up at info@patentleatherproject.com, info@patentleatherproject.com. Just know you're also going to see me doing some media appearances. Look, we got some episodes coming up soon, some media appearances that I did, but just know that you're going to see me on your TV, radio, podcast platform, and anywhere else where I got to put on some makeup and get in front of a screen. Okay. I am going to be featured. I'm going to be the person as your go-to transformational leader expert. Trust me when I say this, God is showing up and showing out. So if you know a space or a place where I can go and give my time and give my expertise, go ahead and hit me up at info@patentleatherproject.com, info@patentleatherproject.com. And also just know that I'm on social media, Instagram, Latoya Deshaun, LATOYADESHAUN, LATOYADESHAUN. You can also catch me on YouTube, Everything on Purpose with Latoya Deshaun. And then there's also my portfolio, because I am a personal makeup artist to high profile talent. That is how this all kick-started my leadership development business, because I soared and mastered my craft there. And now I teach people to do the same thing. Go ahead and hit me up on www.latoyadeshaun.com. Other than that, I appreciate you guys. We got a few more episodes. We are right in the middle of this season, and it's only getting better from here. I'll see you guys on the next episode.